Yeah, it was good to see today at the Carver Military Junior ROTC out there. Had him break our team down at the very end. That was cool for those guys to be out here. Obviously excited about the 2-year contract extension for Andrew Billings. He's done a really good job for us. Changing his body. In the off season. Really working hard at that, and obviously holding down the middle of our defense. He's done an awesome job there. So congratulations to him. Also, congratulations to Mercedes Lewis. He's our honorary captain for the Saints. So certainly excited about that. As you guys saw, Fields was back today. Good to see him back at practice. He's progressing day to day now, so it's good to see him take that next step in that progression. He was dialed in on the game plan this whole week, as he's been the last couple weeks, and it's good to see him take that next step. As you guys see, he's doubtful for the game, which is 51% out, but we'll see where it progresses through this weekend and on to the start of next week as well. So that's where he is in terms of Montez Sweat, his playing time. He's been ramped up in there. It looks really good during the course of this week. He's been in there with our ones, with our twos, with our rush group, and he's picking up things really fast. So we expect to play him and at different spots, and we're excited where he is in his progression. So he's played all along the line, and we're excited where he is right and left. So we're excited where he is for this particular game. And then Braxton Jones is still in his 21-day window. We'll see where that is. Looked good this week. And it's positive, but again, we'll see where that is going forward here in the next couple of days. With that, we'll open up to questions.
Is there a possibility Fields could play or start Sunday?
It's like I said, it's doubtful right now, and we're just letting it progress as it goes, and that's where we put it right now. So it's good to see him throw out there today for sure.
What would you need to see to make that determination? Yeah, he can play.
Yeah, just more progression, just more working through it. We got mock game tomorrow and then go from there. But again, he's healing up nicely, so that's good.
It's still like a swelling, grip strength thing.
Yeah, but that's getting better. I mean, obviously you guys saw him throw today, and he's working through that, and we'll see where it goes.
How about the short week? Can Fields play like Thursday, or would you rather give him another 10 days after that? What's the assuming it's unlikely Sunday? What about Thursday versus?
Yeah, that's really dependent on Justin, where his pain tolerance is when he throws, and then also the functionality of it. Where it goes from there, and then again, that's day to day, and then the trainers. Where the trainers say he is, and then we work through it, and we look at it as a coaching staff and say, hey, this is where he is. He's accurate, looks good, everything looks on point, and go from there.
Since Tyson's looked pretty solid, by all counts, he's done a good job commanding the huddle, commanding the offense. Has that afforded you more time to let Justin get all the way fully healthy rather than rushing him back? Yeah,
we would do that anyway. We would give him all the time he needs to come back full and healthy. We're always going to do that, but certainly having Tyson, with the way he operates the offense and his functionality in our offense in terms of just operating, has been a big positive.
With Edmonds out, how much does that affect you, and who do you put in that spot?
Yeah, I mean,
Sanborn seems.
Yeah, Sanborn's our guy that's played a lot in that position. He's looked good in that position, in the past. He's got a lot of experience in there, and he played well for us last year. So we expect to see him play in there.
Edmonds' injury was one that looked really scary when it happened, and then he was running, and it was a little kind of a breathe a sigh of relief. But is he truly week to week, or do you think this might be extended?
No, I think it's week. I think it's week to week. We'll see where it goes with the short week, though. We'll see where that is, but it's certainly week to week, and he's getting better every day.
With Montez, you said playing him in different spots, moving him right, left. What does that do for you, having a multiplier like that? Does that open up anything else for you to do?
Yeah, it really does. It opens up a lot of things. You can do a lot of things with a caliber player like he is. And we've had some in the past that were like that were the premier players like that. We certainly try to enhance and put them on the matchups that we want along the line. So that's important to do.
Is there a way to say how much closer Braxton is this week? Because it's a neck injury. So, I mean, if he's functional, it would seem like he'd be able to play. He didn't last week. What do you have to see without even playing for him to know that he's good to go?
Yeah, just what he's doing in practice. He practiced the last couple of days and looks good. And we'll circle the wagons with the staff and with Dre and all those guys and see where it is. But it's positive.
With Montez, obviously he creates some decisions for opposing offenses, like do they slide towards Montez, do they slide to Yannick? But beyond that, is there anything about Montez's game specifically that can help Yannick get going, or some of the other guys on the line get going?
Yeah, I believe that with a caliber player like that, I really think that he's going to enhance everybody. And like you said, it's certainly he gets some attention, but also the detail he has in his technique. And then of course Yannick is very detailed in his technique as well, and so are the other guys. But again, when you bring a guy that's had a lot of success, who have a different view and a different way to talk about things and talk about technique, and we're excited to be able to learn and grow as a group from that.
Ryan Poles was down here the other day, and he was asked about you, about your status, his belief in you. He gave you a really huge vote of confidence and support. Did you see that? Did you hear that? If you did, what was your reaction to that? It was very vigorous.
Yeah, I didn't hear it right away. I heard it the next day, but again, that's powerful, and I feel the same way about him. He is a strong man, a strong leader. He does an excellent job. We work hand in hand to really have that leadership in the building and through the whole organization, along with Kevin and George and everybody else. And that's where culture comes from. The relationships that we have together. Him and I and all four of us, and then really that kind of just goes through the whole building. And I think that's an important part to have.
I know you're confident in your ability and yourself and stuff like that, but is it good? Do you need to hear that from your boss, I guess? Especially at this point, given the realities of where you are now, do you kind of need that?
Well, yeah, I was just say this, Mark, that the things that I talk about with the players is number one, model the behavior you want to see, right? Be an inspiration to others, right? And then the last thing I talk to them about is you have to be able to challenge each other, but with that, you also have to encourage. So when you're giving encouraging words to each other, that's building each other up rather than tearing each other down. And that's what we're here to do as teammates and as an organization.
I asked you, I think, Monday about the hits principle, and I think I misspoke in articulating that question. I was actually I meant to refer to the tackling issues you had last week, and the fact that fundamentals were kind of at the root of it. And I guess my question is, shouldn't fundamentals be instilled by now where it's a week where there's not a problem with that? I mean, a lot of these guys have played one off season in 8 games or 2 off seasons in 23 games, and not to be too critical, but I mean, do you feel like isn't that something that when you teach that feels like from the outside that should be there. That shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, you're making a good point. I would say this though, that this game is about those fundamentals, and you have to keep those sharp. All the way through, and they'll go up. I've had a lot of great defenses where they'll do this and they'll do like that, do this, and you always got to stay on the fundamentals of the game, and you got to keep sharpening those tools and sharpening those skills because they do win and lose games. And you saw that when we got to make it. When we do it right, it looks right. And we got to keep doing it right.
Because the issue for you, for any coach, but I think especially you're big on fundamental, is what you're teaching getting through? Are you getting through to players? And I frankly, I don't know if there's as much evidence as maybe we'd expected at this point in year 2. And I'm wondering if you think that you need to do more to get through and get a better reaction from your players of what you're teaching.
Yeah, we're just keep improving every single week. We feel that we're building. We're building on this thing, and the last few weeks on defense, we've really played well. Obviously, our last game, we did not play as well as we wanted to start that game. But again, we saw improvement going into the last few weeks, and again, those things have got to be worked on every single week by the entire group, on offense and defense and special teams.
I know you just cited the improvements, but if you see a problem showing up, week after week, a similar problem, maybe year after year, with a specific player, do you change your messaging? Do you change the teaching points at all to try and get through to that player in a different way?
Yeah, you just work with them. Like I've always said, it's a partnership between the coach and the player. I remember way back when I was coaching linebackers in Dallas, we had an issue with guys getting cut. They're getting cut. And, man, we just drilled it and worked on it. And, for the last 3 or 4 years I was there, it was really hard to get at our legs because we just worked at it. And it was something that we really drilled and worked on. And that's what the job of the position coach is, for them to partner with those guys, and as me as the head coach to make sure that those things are improving every single week.
Eddie Jackson last week was kind of, use an emergency type of status. Is that similar? Is he better this week? Or
no, yeah.
Address that? Like, will he start?
Yes, he will start. Yep, and we're excited where he is. and he had a good week of practice.
Was it surprising? Because I know for a long time it was trending positively. You avoided something more major. Did it surprise you at all that it took him a little bit to get to this point?
Eddie, you're referring to? Yeah, I mean, everybody heals differently. Everybody heals differently, and he was working through it, and he was trying. No one wanted to play more than him. So he worked through it, and he's in a good spot now.
With the run defense, that is an area where you guys have improved a lot, especially looking last year to this year. I think top 5 now in the league. How important has Billings been specifically to shoring up that run defense?
Yeah, it always starts in the middle. I think I've said that before. It starts with those tackles inside, because if you own that inside, it's a big part to hold that point in the middle of your defense, and he is a big part of that. But it does take everybody. You work it to the ends. The linebackers are secondary to be elite. It really takes everybody to do it, and your secondary's got to do a great job of cupping the ball.
Man, whose idea was it? Whose idea was it to change his body? That seems like that's a huge factor for him that you don't normally see when you sign a free agent. Is literally fitting him into what you do. Whose idea was that, and just how important?
Yeah, I think he understood.
Not journeyman, but he was not a star. And
Yeah, I think he understands. We start laying out the standards of how we operate and how we practice, and you're gonna, like we always say, you're gonna run in practice, and we expect you to finish every play. I think he bought into that, and he went to the nutritionist and went to our performance staff and figured out, what do I have to do so I can do that, because I know that's the standard. And a credit to him. He had to work his tail off, on it, and he's done a great job.
did you or Ryan identify that as an issue, as something you had to do, or where did it come from? The idea that he had to change his
Yeah,
body?
absolutely. It's always going to be us working with the player, identifying what he needs to work on and what the improvement needs to be, and then a credit to him. He took ownership of it and got it done.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.